Hello and welcome to the third video in this series about combat cooperation in the world of Star Citizen, brought to you by myself and Snake Eyes. The previous episode focused on showing the first few basic cooperation habits, how to train them, and the benefits they provide to you and your wingman. Now this series aims to guide you on some basic combat-specific tactics, teaching you how to use them and when they should be used. The combat tactic outlined in this video is that of kiting. Kiting is a defensive stance, a distancing tactic. Its purpose is to keep a safe space between you and an attacker in order to achieve the following: to avoid being overwhelmed when outnumbered, to gain an advantage for long-range weapons when dogfighting, and to create options of causing confusion and disorientation amongst the enemy. To quickly recap, kiting refers to the practice of flying backwards, keeping distance between you and your target while being able to return fire at them. This will become a regular tool in your space combat arsenal and will be important to master for more advanced wingman flying. Having the habit of going into a defensive stance will be an important part of Star Citizen gameplay. Often, unless you are planning an assault, combat will arise from being jumped by pirates, criminals, vandal, etc. The defensive stance lets you adapt to the situation while not getting tangled. Think about it. If you suddenly detect one pirate opening fire on you, there is a good chance he will have a buddy waiting to help engage you once you've entered combat with him. You don't want to just fly in blind and lose track of all surroundings in the heat of battle. Being defensive, by performing a maneuver such as kiting, will let you respond to the situation, meaning you can more easily adapt to new hostiles. Going on the defensive will have to become a natural response for any pilot. More interestingly though, kiting can open up many possible tactical options when performed with a wingmate. Before attempting kiting, it's important to consider your equipment. Slower ships such as a Hornet can kite just fine, but you will need to be aware that you won't have lots of additional speed to work in your favour if you need to put more distance between you. For this reason, a ship such as a 300I or 325A with a base speed of 220 meters per second can be ideal to give you that edge. Maneuverability is a bonus, but speed and acceleration are the most important attributes here. Additionally, larger, long-range weaponry is an obvious necessity here. Weapons such as Omninsky 6s with fast projectile velocities and long effective ranges are ideal. To establish the kite, you ideally want to use your existing forward momentum by flying past your opponent, then entering decoupled mode to fly backwards. Use reverse thrust to make sure you're then flying at full speed. This is quick and does not require any long acceleration times. When you try this with a wingman, be sure to line up your trajectories or you will split apart, and the key is flying together in formation, allowing you to focus fire on the same targets. This means that you will need to keep an eye on your wingman at all times and have great coordination, ideally communicating to each other through a voice program such as Skype or TeamSpeak. Once in position, you want to keep adjusting your vector so that the enemy can reach your longer firing range but isn't close enough to engage you with their likely shorter range weaponry. Even if the enemy has long range weaponry also, your focus fire will generally tip the engagement in your favour, or at the very least intimidate them enough to turn away. Once in the kite, there are several options of attack available. The first option is to simply continue to kite indefinitely. This is ideal if you're greatly outnumbered and want to keep your distance while slowly destroying any ships chasing you. The next option is to break the kite and engage the enemy in a traditional dogfight. This is normally ideal if you only have one target chasing both of you and he's isolated from the main group. To do this, both of you should exit decoupled mode at the same time and fly back towards the target. Remember not to crash into each other. This option is also often required if you have one or two ships following you and they are faster than your own ships, and so they could run you down. Be warned, this option means that you and your wingmate will be stationary on the map and will be exposed for engagement to any enemy reinforcements that are on their way. The third option covered here is something a bit more risky and generally works better if you are in a hard to hit smaller ship such as an M50 or a Mustang. However, with some skill, larger ships can also utilise this option. Considering disorientation and confusion are great elements to use against the opposition, as they can allow you to get some good hits in. One option is to have one or both of you break the kite and boost back through the swarm of targets, then re-establish the kite flying in the opposite direction. So, in other words, fly back towards and through the enemy formation at full speed, then start kiting again. This may sound a bit silly, but it can be surprisingly effective. The aim of making the run at the enemy is to get some surprise hits on one of the targets, ideally a nice cockpit shot in the confusion. This can be great if you want to knock out a leader and you feel you can do so with a few quick hits while also taking the enemy by complete surprise. If it's the case that only one of you does this, then that person can also draw some of the group into his kite. This can be an effective way to split up a large group of enemies if you have incoming allies on the way. When you do this though, remember to divert full power to forward shields, then switch them aft once you're through the formation. A bonus of this tactic compared to the previous one is that both of you are kept mobile and not caught in one location while in a dogfight. So to conclude the main points covered here, kiting is a defensive tactic designed to let you engage the enemy while keeping your distance. Coordination with your wingman is absolutely essential to perform such techniques as a team. Some kind of audio communication software such as TeamSpeak is highly recommended. Kiting is made much more effective by utilising faster ships and longer range weaponry, but this can come at the expense of short-range dogfighting effectiveness. And finally, once in the kite, different options of attack are available to you. Well, that's it for this video. It would be awesome to hear your thoughts on kiting in the comments below. If you liked this video, then do be sure to subscribe. The next episode will look at baiting targets while working as a team. Thanks for watching. Ginger signing off.